Well, hello everybody. This is Daniel with Daniel's Bullion Coins. I've got the camera backed up just a little tiny bit so that you can see some of Peace and Plenty Homestead. Over here in the corner of the picture, you can see the new green shed that we just finished. It just was delivered, and we just made it into a chicken coop and a storage for the zero-turn mower. And we'll be running our meat birds out of that shed next year. And then over here in this pen here, we've got the meat birds for this year, and you can't see them, but behind here is the we have the black Morans, which are probably just a month or so old, so we're growing those up right now. For the next few months, we'll use that new shed for the black Morans, and then they'll go out to the back of the farm, and we'll have black Moran eggs for next year. They are my absolute favorite egg of all. But this is Daniel's Bullion Coins, and we want to talk about this chart. I've been changing and adding it and revising it, but I wanted to mention two more things really quick that I've noticed just this week on this chart. And what we want to talk about is stagflation. I think I've changed my mind, or I've come up with a new thought. I think we're headed for major stagflation. And what that is here are people in general that are holding dollars, and they have stocks, and they're starting to realize that their dollars are going down in value, and they're going twice as fast when you multiply that by the fact that you're in stocks. So you're losing value in the dollar, and you're losing value if you're in the stocks. This right here, this black line, is inflation in goods and services. So we see that going up, and we see this going down. And I was talking about how people are going to eventually realize and start to leave the dollar and go into gold and silver and tangibles, and that would make the price go up right here. For the price for gold and silver would rise right here. But I've been thinking about this, and I've been watching people, and here we are at $5 national average for gasoline. And if you want to use non-ethanol, you're going to be $6.50 in some places. We're close to $6 in this area for high-grade gasoline, and diesel is also, $6. And with the way things are going, obviously we're going higher. We're not getting into that right now. So people are going to start to say, what can I do with my dollars? And I'm noticing what I think the trend is. They're starting to take those vacations, and they're starting to do the things that they want to do, which Ingrid and I are doing the same thing. We went out and we bought new tires for her car and for her truck and for my truck. And we don't really need them right now. We just put them in the back of the shed for later. And the lady, when I went to buy the tires, she said that they have a price increase every 2 weeks. So, and then this morning I heard a rubber shortage is starting to happen, and the price on manufacturing goods, when they need rubber, the price is going very high. So, and I remember seeing a news article, a news story from the Great Depression, and they would make wooden wheels for the delivery trucks, and they would only last just a few hundred miles, but that's how desperate they needed wheels, tires, for the delivery trucks, that they would spend many hours making a wooden wheel that would wear down very quickly on these delivery trucks. So I went ahead and bought tires, and we're doing other things, so we're right in there with everybody else. But I'm noticing people are taking that vacation. They're picking up things that are going to be more expensive down the road, and we're doing that. We're definitely doing that, whether it's food or tires or freezers, refrigerators, whatever you need. People are getting it done. They're going ahead and getting it done because they know the cost is going up. So that is dollars coming out of the system and going into goods and services. And that is stagflation. That is when the price of necessities is going up faster and your wages are going down or staying the same or only increasing just slightly. So if this is the mean right here, the middle or the balance line, and your wages, you know, were somewhere right in here originally, they're only increasing just a tiny bit across this mean that we've got right here. But inflation is going up and the value of your dollar is going down. I hope all that makes sense. That's kind of my thought. If you have any thoughts on that, please put it in the comment. I would love to incorporate your questions into my little whiteboard scenario that I'm doing here. Don't forget tangibles, gold and silver. Tangibles are food, tires for your car, a new freezer, whatever you think you're going to need that's going to sustain you. That's where you need to be investing. This, you could say, commodities right here. And all of that is like I'm saying, these dollars are coming out, going through tangibles, buying tangibles, bread, freezers, tires, and that's causing the price of those items to go higher. But we're also seeing a deflationary scenario, I think is going to start pretty soon, where the things you don't need are going to start going down. All right, so that was just a quick little fun touch up on that chart that we did the other day. Right here was the chicken. We talked a little bit about chicken. Well, I thought I'd go over this chicken. I was talking with a good friend of mine, Harry, and he helped me out with a whole nother idea on explaining my chicken theory right here. So I'm going to run through this again, but with different numbers and a different way to look at it. Okay, so we had the 1960s right here, early 60s, and a chicken was 25 cents. Now that was a silver quarter right there. That was a silver quarter back in the early 1960s. And that silver quarter had 0.18 of a troy ounce in it. There's some other numbers after this, but we're just going to round up to 0.18 of a troy ounce of silver in every silver quarter that's pre-1960s. So whether it's a dime, a quarter, or a $half or a silver dollar, there's about 3/4 of an ounce in each dollar. Now, we come up to, let's come up to 2022 right now, and that chicken is $25 now. I'm going to clarify one more thing here real quick. The chicken in the 60s was grown with non-GMO. All chicken in the 1960s, it hadn't been invented yet. We had non-GMO. And we had manure as the fertilizer. Okay? We did not use natural gas. Now, today, it is possible to get a chicken with no GMO. No genetically modified feed. But it's almost impossible to find a chicken that the feed has been grown in manure. Okay, so for this first phase, we're going to compare a 1960s chicken, non-GMO, with manure fertilizer for the feed. Whether, when they raise the corn and the wheat and they mix the barley and they mix that to grind that up and make chicken feed, it was done with natural fertilizers. Today, it's done with natural gas. Okay? So, we've got the 25. So, if you went out to the farmer's market and you wanted to buy a true a non-GMO, I'm sorry, GMO. Non-GMO. You wanted a non-GMO chicken. Don't mind me, I just messed up. If you wanted a no GMO chicken from a farmer that was raised like whole food, you went to the Whole Foods and you got a non-GMO chicken, it's still going to be natural gas that grew the wheat and the barley and the feed that's ground up to make the chicken feed. You're not going to get away from that, not unless you find a true natural farmer, sort of like what we're doing. But that'll be $25, okay, for that one chicken. Now, we know that it takes $1.40 to equal 1 troy ounce of silver. So that is 4 quarters and 4 dimes. Okay, that equals 1 troy ounce. So what we can do now is we can take that 0.18 of a troy ounce and we can divide that into 1 troy ounce, and we're going to get 5.55 troy ounces of silver. So in other words, you can get 5.55 with 5.5 ounces of silver. I'm sorry, with 1 troy ounce. So I'm gonna get this right. With 1 troy ounce, you can buy 5.55 chickens, because 1.18 of a chicken, the cost of a chicken in 1960s, divided into 1 troy ounce equals 5.55 chickens. So if we take the 5.5 chickens right there and we times that by the $25 that it's costing us today to purchase that chicken, it's $138.88. The other day when I did it, it was $140, but you know, we're just getting round numbers. I think if I had the full numbers here, I probably would have hit the 140. Okay, that is in comparing a 1960s chicken with a chicken today, you can get the non-GMO and non-GMO, apples for apples, but you cannot get a manure fertilized feed. You have to get natural gas feed. The feed is going to be grown with natural gas, natural fertilizer. Really not natural at all. It's nothing natural about it at all. I'm not going to talk about the chemical process, but it's just a pure accelerant for the feed. In my opinion, if you take this out, take out the natural gas, and you put in the manure, fertilizer for the feed, if you do that today in 2022, which we do that here, we grow the feed in the rabbit manure that comes off of the chickens and off of the rabbits, and grow their feed in that in a fodder house. We grow it in a fodder house. I would estimate, from my experience of doing that the cost of that chicken is $50, because of the extra process and extra difficulty to raise the feed in manure. So as the natural gas price is climbing, and being shut off and being made obscure and unable to get it, we may be going back to manure fertilizer for our feed. that will double the cost of that chicken. So that's pretty easy to figure. If this was rounded off to 140 and I had another 140 for the feed, excuse me, we have our $280 per ounce. That's each troy ounce right there. The other problem is how many farmers are out there that know how to, I'm still working it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. Know how to raise feed with manure fertilizer and non-GMO and get a whole chicken, can it, put it in a jar, cook it, put it in a jar, can it, and sell it for $50. I think that the amount of people that have that skill and have that capability are so few and so far between that this $280 per troy ounce, that's in today's dollars. Let me show you what I'm talking about when I say today's dollars. That's right here. That's today's dollars. But as dollars are going down, the further you go down this trail here, the higher those dollars are it's gonna take to do this scenario. So let's say we go to 2032, 10 more years with the dollar going down in value. This calculation is going to be much higher. This 280, if I have to plug in, 35 or 45 or 65 to get a whole chicken, a non-GMO chicken, and if I have to times that by 2, and then times it by 2 here, that's going to make this number much higher. And then you think about how many people need to be fed in this country. This could be a real problem. Not only that, but like I've said in my other videos, the dollar is going to completely crash. Then what are you going to purchase your food with? Well, I hope everybody's enjoyed that video. I really will respond to any questions that you have. I enjoy answering questions. It helps me to think and come up with new videos just off of the questions. One of the questions that we had the other day was kind of funny. It was really a troll, but it was interesting. He tried to say that California was an example of a silver quarter not equaling a gallon of gas. I did the video on 25-cent piece back in the 60s would buy you a gallon of gas, and it would still buy you a gallon of gas today. And I used 5 different examples of cigarettes were 25 cents back then, a gallon of milk, bread, gasoline, some other things I listed. And California, that is 1/50th of 1/5. So I had 5 examples. There's 50 states, and the price was, $1 or $2 higher. Never mind the regulations and the taxes in California and the crime. We can put down crime. That makes the price of gasoline a little bit higher in California than in Kansas. So yes, there are anomalies to this, but when you've got the entire Sears and Roebuck catalog that you can use as an example, take a bicycle, a well-built bicycle. When I was a kid, if my parents bought a bicycle, it lasted your entire life. Nowadays, we buy a bicycle, and when the tires go out on it or the handlebar breaks, you throw it away and you go to Walmart and get another one. They're not built to last like they were back then. But yet the cost has gone up and it'll fit in this chart, just like the chicken will, just like the gasoline will, just like the bread, the cigarettes, all of that stuff fits in this exact calculation. And I have other things besides the chicken that I can use as a calculation, and we'll be doing those down the road. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. Just ask any questions. I'll be glad to help you. Thank you very much for watching.